Dean Hall made a name for himself ever since he took on the project that created an everlasting mark on the survival gaming industry. Working with Bohemia Interactive and participating as a founder and a lead developer for DayZ, Dean Hall built a very impactful foundation that created trust in players for years to come. Despite a massively successful reputation, Dean Hall had to come to terms on his own and realize that working with Bohemia Interactive was never a permanent thing, but more so an element of a treading water. Leading to 2014, Dean Hall left Bohemia Interactive in order to pursue his own studio, which to this day is known as Rocketworks. As the development company started to slowly grow and build a name for itself, a few titles started to get traction in the gaming industry. Fast forward in 2017, he released a title that seemed very simplistic from the outside. However, it used very complex gaming physics that eventually turned the game into a space simulator, quite literally. And it was very impressive considering that no other game was quite like that. Stationeers never managed to reach an extremely competitive level in the amount of players. However, its dedicated returning player base had to say it otherwise, especially how good the quality of the game was. Currently sitting at very positive review count on Steam, the inspiration and love for open world sci-fi / building and crafting survival genres never seemed to go away for Dean. In fact, he was inspired to create another title, Icarus. On December 3rd, 2021, Icarus finally made its first appearance to the Steam community. Unfortunately, the anticipation and excitement for this title started to fade away on the rapid level. Players who kept a close eye on the title were left confused and frustrated because Icarus didn't seem to be exactly what the players wanted it to be. The open world aspect was missing. Instead, Icarus was never intended to be an open book. It was designed to be enjoyed on the competitive level rather than a full open world, even though it seemed otherwise. The sole purpose of Icarus was dedicated to a very specific group of players. It was dedicated to those players who like to grind and complete a set amount of missions within a timely manner. Despite its unique approach with the gameplay loop, many players were left frustrated due to one element of the game, and it was its wipe system. Many players spent hours building and crafting during a dedicated gaming session, and once the mission was complete, the character progress would remain in place. However, the world where the players were able to build and engage throughout its course would shortly then be erased, for good, forcing returning players to build from scratch every time upon accepting a new mission, leaving many players feeling disappointed and unmotivated when it came down to putting in an effort in building. Icarus certainly felt very different in that way. And the players who truly wanted to experience the creativity and the building element of Icarus never got to truly enjoy it. And it was simply due to its time loop system. Upon accepting a mission, you had a certain given time to complete it, and upon completion, you retreat your character and the session is over. And that's also when the majority of the reviews on Steam appear to be very negative, leaving the rest of the review count on the platform at mixed rating. As a matter of fact, that was the only reason as to why I personally refused to buy Icarus and instead decided to wait with hopes that developers would change its approach. I enjoy crafting and building things in open world survival games. That's what makes them so great. And removing and not having that system at all completely ruins the true purpose behind the open world survival genre, at least in my eyes, that is. All things considered, very recently Icarus released an update that completely shaped the game for the better. It's not quite perfect yet, but it's certainly aimed for the right direction. The full open world experience is finally here. It allows you to build things and enjoy its massive world without ever losing your progress. The core element of the game never changed, in fact it still remains in place. To make it fair for those who enjoyed the previous version of Icarus, that system never was taken out from the game completely. You can still certainly play that older style loop game if you wanted to. Having that said, instead of putting hours into settling in and building during your gaming session and losing that progress after all, your progress now saves and it becomes a part of the world that you engage with. And quite frankly, that's what Icarus was expected to be in the first place, but it was simply never delivered. Not only the new open world update spiked interest in other players, those who never tried the game, but most importantly it inspired those who left the game to come back and give it another go. With this update, your current progress remains the same. The buildings that you build during your missions are here to stay, leaving you inspired to create very unique designs. The performance of Icarus has been drastically improved. Now, to be fair, Icarus for me personally has never been an issue when it came to its overall experience. I've always been able to retain a stable frame rate, for the most part that is. But nonetheless, the development team never stopped optimizing the game regardless. Now, there is no doubt at all that the open world update was a game-changing experience for most of us, but in spite of that, it was never solely for that reason only. In fact, this update had a lot more good going for it in terms of content and changes. Instead of boring you and walking through every single change with this update, I will leave screenshots as I speak so you can pause the video on your own and take a look at it. Nevertheless, this update featured 55 new additions to the game, 53 fixed issues, 47 new edited content, and last but certainly not least, 5 new missions along with 5 new side quests added to the game. While I'm not here to discredit those who played this title since day one, I will say Icarus is definitely headed in the right direction, with the right development team supporting this title every step of the way. Dean Hall succeeded with DayZ. He certainly knows how to run with the ball, if you will. Out of all the people in this industry, I'm fully confident that Dean and his Icarus team will have its time to shine. The game was just different and not what was expected, but that doesn't make the game a bad game. It's just different. Now, on the bright note, Rocketworks acknowledged what players wanted, and that is why they started to head in that direction. And instead of pursuing what they had in mind, they decided to listen to its community and pursue people's voices. And that is what's so great about all this. Keep in mind, the whole fast loop system is still available in the game. It was never thrown away, however players can now freely enjoy the open world experience as it brings more casual experience to the game. Let us know your personal thoughts on Icarus and how it's been treating you this far. Icarus always captivated my attention, but me personally, I don't enjoy much of a fast-paced experience, and that was the only reason as to why I stayed away from this title as long as I have. Hit a like button in order for this video to reach someone else, possibly with the words of encouragement. Subscribe if you find this type of content enjoyable. I try to be consistent and I do upload twice a week, bringing you new content every video. And with that being said, this was your boy Roos, and I'm out. Bye.